Well, this is probably the most exciting game on court, one we have got all day. The anticipation has been real inside the CBS arena, you'd imagine. After the women, of course, played this morning, where they would lose to Israel, will Great Britain men be able to get past Germany? Game 29 here of Goalball in the men and women's division. And, of course, it is the final game of the men's scheduled today. Here's what's happened already in both the men and the women. Germany men beat Finland 9-6. As they, of course, started off the day with a win. Will they end the men's action and their games today with a victory? Israel 9, Great Britain women 4. Commiserations to Great Britain women unable to repeat the feat of yesterday's win against Australia. Korea Republic 8, Lithuania 5. What a comeback that was in the third game of the day. Second women's game, Ukraine USA. That was a no contest. USA 8-0 winners. Same in the men's game between Japan and Egypt. And you can even say between Canada and Germany. They're the biggest scorers of the day, winning by 10-3 against Germany women. So how will Germany men fare against Great Britain men? And then to round us off is Brazil versus Finland women. It's 6:15. So game 29 of Goalball then sees the Germans line up with this lineup. They have the number 1 Daniel Arenda in their team. They have Felix Roger, number 2. Number 4 is Philipp Tauscher. Beg your pardon, is number 4. Number 6 is Oliver Herauf. Number 8 is Ruven Schettelich, and number 9 is Fabian Diem. The rest of the coaching staff is Stefan Weil, Sebastian Müller, and they also have Renaud Tida as their other coaching members on their bench. Well, for the Great Britain men's Goalball fans, this is the squad that they have. We will find out who their 3 will be in the lineup very, very shortly. But this is the 6 and squad that they've got. They have Matt Loftus, number 2. They have Josh Murphy, number 3. David Scott, number 4. Caleb Nanavi, the number 5. Dan Roper, number 7. Joe Roper, number 8. And the coaching staff, head coach Faye Dale, joined in support by her 2 trusted lieutenants are Alex Bunny and Josie Hewson. Well, we will await to see what the GB lineup is. We know the German lineup, they're all standing by, ready for action. Of course, GB men had to fight off against Egypt. They were 3-0 down and then would come back to get a victory that would see them get off to a good start on home soil in, of course, this tournament in the men's category. They were 7-5 winners against Egypt and were 3-0 down early on. For Germany, it looks as though they're going to start off with the same side that started and finished amazingly against Finland. So from left to right, they got Oliver Herauf as the number 6. Number 8 is Ruven Schettelich. He's the centre. And the left is Felix Roger, who was helping himself to a few goals earlier on today. As it looks as though the England 3 are in position as well. Right to left, it appears it's going to be Caleb Nanavi, the number 5. Matt Loftus, the centre. And we wait to see who the 3rd and final player is for the Great Britain men's side, who are in red. Germany will be in black. Black in Germany is, of course, what colour shirts they are in. And then, of course, they'll be going from left to right. Germany will go, Great Britain will go from right to left. As the roars and cheers come in, as we are closer and closer to this game going ahead. Anticipation is building. They just want this game to get started. The German bench of Stefan Weil and Sebastian Müller. This is a little talk for the England, for the GB players before they kick or they get started this game. Our officials are Balit Benker and Bash Spans. So just outlaying who's where for the crowd. And, of course, just laying down some things that he wants to happen from the game does Balint Benker, the referee. As it is Great Britain who start us off. And in the way of it is Reuven Shitelich. But 3 against 3 on the pitch. 3 subs. 6-man squads. Or 6 playing squads. But, of course, this is the men's taking action. So it is, obviously, same applying here. We are 19 seconds in. It is Germany 0, Great Britain 0. Second game of the day for Germany. As there's a good stop by Dan Roper, who has managed to make the stop for Great Britain. He's on the pitch alongside Caleb Nanavi and Matt Loftus, who's the number 2. Attempting to try to score for Germany is Heralf, but well denied by Nanavi. They don't intend to start as slow as they did against Egypt. They want to be right on the front foot against the German side, who, of course, were 9-6 winners over Finland in the first game of the day on court 1. They started the men's action, and they're going to finish it as Felix Roger fires just wide of the right side of Dan Roper. England subs, Josh Murphy, David Scott, Joe Roper. For Germany, Philipp Tauscher, Daniel Rendar and Fabian Diem are the subs. Should, of course, they be needed to be brought on. Germany didn't make a single change, by the way, in their game against Finland earlier this morning. So this is their 3rd game. Great Britain's 2nd. Roger going for it low. Just curled away from the goal and curled away from Dan Roper. Of course, you get 10 seconds to have an attempt at the opposition goal. And on the goal line there to block it in the nick of time was Felix Roger. Good defensive work by the German number 2 to slide onto the line and get in the way of it. That's, by the way, the 2 10-second timekeepers, Raquel Aguado and Riley Sipora. It will be a German ball. Oliver Heralf is turning, spinning and taking it, but denied by Matt Loftus, the centre, who moves over to the right. Over now to Dan Roper to see what he's got. But he's denied, and it's well stopped by Heralf. Really good work by the German defence in the early exchanges. As Great Britain are certainly putting a lot of power behind their shots. Feels like a lot of aggression going into it. Roger getting his sights set on a goal, but denied by Loftus. So we've seen a decent amount of opportunities so far. Mixed bag in terms of it getting close to the goal. And Great Britain looking a bit more likely for that to happen more than the Germans at the moment. Caleb Nanavi blocks the intended throw. And then it will be the opportunity for Dan Roper, but well held by Roger. Of course, in Goalball, you will see players save with their legs, their hands, their upper body, sides, whatever. But of course, in terms of trying to score, you have to use your hands and throw the ball. Of course, high balls aren't really a thing in this. You will get penalised if the ball is over 6 metres high. As Nanavi will look to find the far corner way to Heralf's right. And that sort of left side of the goal, which just slightly cut out on the picture, but that was where Nanavi was aiming for. Was a little bit away from there. Heralf with the attempt. Denied well by Dan Roper. So England very much switched on in the early exchanges, and having to slide to get on the loose ball and keep it in his own half and keep a hold of it is Shitelich, who gone for it. Diving to Nanavi, but it's wide. Here at the CBS Arena in Coventry is where Goalball is for the World Games in Birmingham. Of course, Coventry east of the Midlands and a city as well. Of course, the CBS Arena is very much not just a football stadium, but of course is a venue for entertainment and events as well, and conferences, if you've not been there. It's good venue to go to. Well, it's quite interesting to see the Great Britain tactics from the men's side, because they are using a dummy runner to throw off the Germans and almost get them almost fooled a little bit with the sounds. There was a couple of occasions where none of he was going forward and not even having the ball on him, but it would leave it for another teammate of his to have a go. Not quite on show there, but that is seemingly what Faye Dale and Alex Bunny have told the 3 Great Britain players to maybe do. But it hasn't quite yet come off or panned out as they would like. It is still goalless between these two nations. And this Anglo-German affair, of course, we know the rivalry behind Germany and Great Britain when they meet in any sport. As there was nearly an opening as Dan Roper denied on the line by Roger. Stretched and denied him on the goal line. Used his feet brilliantly. Of course, that ball goes over the red line. It has to be the whole ball for it to count. And right on the line to deny him was Roger. So it's a case at the moment of both defences being astute and being clever in terms of keeping the other one out. As Heralf's effort has been kept out by Dan Roper. The Germans not quite with an obvious sort of game plan, it feels like. Certainly Roger and Heralf are 2 players to keep an eye on. Schitelich is very much as you expect to be in the centre and being the defensive type, but will be a penalty for Great Britain, which is a long ball, which of course has happened in this instance. So it's a penalty for England. Caleb Nanavi with the chance to put them into the lead. Will he take it? He will not, because Roger denies him. Well, of course, the rules on the long ball, of course, it can't go too high, 6 metres high, in fact. So, of course, it has to make sure it goes from the middle into the German half and in the landing area, which it didn't appear to do so. So the officials were quick to spot that. But England, Great Britain couldn't make that penalty count. Attempt coming in from Schitelich. However, though, Loftus is there, and I'll give it to Caleb Nanavi. Turns and spins in. Of course, that's a technique that you can use to try and score, but unsuccessful there. But it is 0-0 with nearly 50% of this first half gone through. There's, of course, the court as the brushes onto it, of course, takes the moisture off it. Of course, some sort of patches left by sort of sweat, and the players diving around to stop the ball will create that. So it's got to be a smooth surface on this flat court. As the Germans get some instructions on from their coach, Stefan Weil and Sebastian Müller. Same for the Great Britain players in Faye Dale and Alex Bunny, head coach and assistant respectively. Not quite barking out instructions, but certainly talking and giving them instructions. Heralf with the attempt. Well held by Matt Loftus. Of course, 10 seconds is to have as many seconds it needs to have the shot. If you're over the 10, you get penalised. Of course, those eye protectors as well. You will notice that unless the player has asked permission of the officials to take them off or to sort of readjust them or to do whatever it is to sort them out, they will have to let them know, as they've done the dummy run again here, Great Britain. Trying to feign the Germans and fool them, but unable to. Standing firm are Great Britain. Nanavi now looking to try and get the opening goal, but it is a disappointing effort, which is straightforward and easy for Ruven Schitelich. Well, we did see, of course, this morning, Great Britain women try and get the home crowd bouncing and get them smiling, but they couldn't quite do that as they were beaten 9-4 by Israel. It's up to the men to try and do that now. They did it yesterday with a win against Egypt. Memorable for the comeback they produced. As they won 7-5, they were 3-0 down, if you didn't see it. And Nanavi with a great stretch save to deny Felix Roger, who was lethal and very, very effective for Germany in their opening game of the day today against Finland. Speaking of Finland, the women's side take on Brazil next on court 1, which is a 6:15 kickoff. By the way, final game of the day in the men's tournament on court 2, Turkey against Ukraine, is going on right now. But here we, of course, have 8 games as opposed to 7 on court number 2. Again, they've done the dummy run. They have tried to fool the Germans again, but they're just not getting the shots away from the centre at the moment. Oh, Great Britain. Shitelik with a very heavy bounce goes into the GB half, and one that is dealt with by GB. Roger able to make the save. Sliding. Not able to stretch far enough to make sure the ball doesn't go into the GB half. Goes over that neutral zone, of course. Once it does do that, they're not allowed to go in there and pick up the ball. It's got to be before that yellow line going from up and down inside that little sort of section in the middle of the court. Dan Roper's attempt is dealt with by Oliver Herauf. Of course, to play this game, you've got to be either fully blind or have less than 10% sight. And of course, whilst you might have some sort of sight compared to some other players who are completely blind, you've got to wear protection. Of course, that means it gives it fair competition rather than having that unfair advantage of someone being able to see slightly better than the other players. So, of course, they wear sort of white patches underneath, over their eyes, and then over the patches come the shades protectors. Of course, at least one men's side and one women's side will play twice a day. Germany's turn this time around. It was Egypt's yesterday in the men's draw. Nanavi going for it. Not making Herauf move, though. As rather surprisingly, we've actually got a game at 0-0 as we are edging deep into the first half here in Coventry. Here in England, Great Britain's second game of the Goalball. Throw by Shitelik is kept out by Caleb Nanavi. Remember, each side has at least one timeout they've got to call in the first half. They get 4 overall, lasting 45 seconds. So that's a total of 3 minutes for timeouts overall for each side. There's a stoppage in play, so chance for the staff off the side of the pitch to just give a bit of a brush onto the court. Of course, as I explained earlier, they've got to try and keep it as sort of dry and free of moisture and sort of sweat as they can. As the crowd are in, no doubt, of course, the players, family and friends are there to support as well. As it is goalless between Germany and GB. Remember, the women of Germany did just play against Canada and were beaten 10-3. Again, the dummy run gone by Dan Roper, trying to fool the Germans. Shitelik did just slightly move there, but I think quickly knew that he wasn't going to be fooled at all. And, of course, did only move slightly a little bit to his left, but was still sort of in a decent position in the centre. As the ball drops to number 7, Roper has a go. Blocked by Roger up on the goal line. That's where he's pretty much been in this first half, as of course in the sort of square you have two rectangles. The first one, which is the landing area, which is basically where the ball for the attacking side has got to at least bounce in for the shot to count or the goal to be scored if it gets past the defence. And then you might notice the little lines sort of coming in to the rectangle. That's where, of course, the positions are. So you'll see the German wingers of Herauf and Roger occupy that little position in that sort of small little half a square or such, or not finished square, you could almost liken it to, where they will be for defensive structure and positioning, as it will go off the court despite Ruven Shatelik getting off his feet to try and keep it in play. Not quite the urgency shown there, as there is the opportunity. Nanavi using his body well. It looked like it was not going to be one that England or Great Britain were going to react to, but Nanavi did smartly and was very aware of where that ball in the end was going. Walker with an attempt which Matt Loftus keeps out. Remember, on the pitch are 3 players each. Germany have Felix Roger, who's just had that attempt. In the middle of the 3 is Ruven Shatelik, the number 8. And they also have Oliver Herauf, the number 6. On the left, lying down, and he's just the one who's made the block there to stop Dan Roper for England, who's the far right of your picture. The middle is Matt Loftus, and number 5 on the left is Caleb Nanavi. Defended now by Matt Loftus. Well, we've already seen at least 8 goals in every game in this schedule today on court 1. We've had absolutely nothing between Germany and Great Britain. So, certainly fascinating all the way, this battle between these two. As Roper can't quite find that way through. Almost just looks like for that split second it's going to go in, but Herauf located and heard where the ball was and got his side onto it, left side on it, just stuck it up and kept it out. There's then, of course, throwing it out of play instead of giving away a penalty was Matt Loftus. Of course, does that, so it just means the Germans just get a shot rather than having a shot where only one Great Britain defender can be on the pit, on the court. So they kept all 3 on there, so 2 don't have to go off on the side. Roger going to spin and it bounces. It bounces over into the right of Dan Roper. So 1 minute and 7 seconds is all that's left of this first half. Germany 0, Great Britain 0. The crowd member have got to be quiet. No loud noises at all. The coaching staff have also got to be quiet when the action's on. If there's an opportunity or a block, when the ball is out or a dead ball or a stoppage, that's when the cheers can come in. They've got to be quiet for the players' sake. Nanavi low. Easy for Roger. Of course, the 10-second clock is ticking. Not many players will get done by that. Nanavi, though, keeps it out. And, of course, his eye shades have gone off, so spotted by the officials. Stoppage in play, and that will, of course, mean that the protection will go on the outer part of his eyes. As Faye Dale looks on, the Great Britain men's head coach. He's looking on very much with deep thoughts. And it does appear as though there's going to be a timeout here for Great Britain. What it is 0-0. Just a recap of the day. It is the 7th game out of 8. 15 games, of course, are played over the course of the day here in Coventry. 8 on court 1, 7 on court 2. Swaps over tomorrow. So there will be 8 on court 2, 7 on court 1. This is the 7th game we've got. This is the fixtures we've had already. German men beat Finland men 9-6. Great Britain women lost 9-4 to Israel. 8-5 Korea, Lithuania in the men's. The women also saw Ukraine lose 8-0 to USA. Canada, Germany women was 10-3. 9-2 Japan against Egypt in the men's draw. And 0-0 here as it stands between Germany and Great Britain men. Brazil, Finland wraps up on court 1 at 6:15. 30 seconds remain. And to the surprise of probably everybody, it is going to be a stalemate potentially, unless something is going to happen and a goal's going to be scored in the final 16 seconds. Shitelich bouncing in his half, and then it goes into the landing area of the Great Britain half. This has to go. None of he will take. They tried the dummy run again, try to fool them, and they will score! 4 seconds left. Great Britain have got themselves in front. Caleb Nanavi finally able to get a shot past the Germans. Shitelich dived just that little bit early. You can get caught out if you dive a little bit early. Bounced off his left side and high down the middle of the goal. And Germany concede right at the end of this first half with 4 seconds remaining. Caleb Nanavi puts Great Britain in the lead as we head into this 3-minute interval. Half time here in Coventry in the final men's game of the day. It is Germany 0, GB men 1 in a very close fought contest so far. We'll be back very, very shortly.
IBSA, International Blind Sports Federation, presents, with the support of the International Paralympic Committee, IBSA Anti-Doping App, the first application of its kind in the Paralympic movement, specifically designed for blind and visually impaired people. Athletes, coaches, medical staff, managers, and the public in general now have a powerful tool to stay focused on the principles of clean sport. Scrolling down the main menu, you can find all the important themes you need to know to play fair and be alert to testing procedures and necessary adaptations for athletes with visual impairments. IBSA gives top priority to anti-doping control, being the only international federation with 3 sports in the Paralympic family: goalball, football, and judo. IBSA anti-doping app has external links, namely to WADA, where our sport agents can always find the most updated information, especially the list of prohibited substances and methods. Glory in sport can only be achieved by the athlete's awareness of their rights and responsibilities. You can find them on the IBSA anti-doping app. IBSA is continuously promoting anti-doping education to all its affiliate athletes and sport agents, not only about the consequences of the use of doping and the risk of using supplements. IBSA believes that education is the major tool to fight doping in sport. Informed athletes can make better decisions. Download the app now at the usual operating system stores.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have seen history being made today.
Such a great team at these championships.
IBSA. Beyond sight. Feel the sport.
Well, we are back for the second half. If you're new to Goalball, I was thinking that it is short. Believe me, it is short if you were thinking it. So short that some people might not even have time to go and have a quick toilet break. It is that short. But that's not a bad thing. The next 12 minutes will be very gripping indeed. Great Britain hold the advantage. Just a single goal is the lead at the moment with Caleb Nanavi, and it's not anymore. First shot of the second half. And Germany are level. Deutschland delight from Felix Ruger. 1-1. And 5 seconds into it, we do not see Great Britain men in the lead anymore. And are we going to see a change of tactic perhaps from the Germans? So we had a goal within the first 4 seconds of the second half, and of course Great Britain would lead with a goal within the last 4 seconds of the first half. So not much difference in it if you exclude the 3-minute interval. And it is one apiece now. Well, that put the Germans back up with that goal from Felix Roger. Now Dan Roper has an attempt in this second half. By the way, the remaining GB players include Matt Loftus, the number 2, and Caleb Nanavi, the GB goal scorer for Germany. Ruven Schittelik is in the middle. The right of him is Oliver Heralf, and the left of him is Felix Roger, who got the equaliser for Deutschland, or Germany. As Roger makes a fine stop to tip it behind him. Coming off the goal line and shooting low and with power. Nanavi doing the same. Just goes wide of the goal. And fans in the crowd knew how close it was. Substitutes for Germany: Daniel Renda, Philipp Tauscher and Fabian Diem. For Great Britain, Josh Murphy, David Scott, Joe Roper are on the subs bench for both. For Great Britain, I should say. Opportunity for Dan Roper, but saved well by the chest of Oliver Heralf. Walker will have an attempt, of course. 10 seconds is all he's got to get the shot away, and he will find a way through. Well, he's got him and his country's second. And Germany, who anything they threw towards the Great Britain goal in the first half was stopped very much. Completely different in the second half. 90 seconds plus in, and Germany have gone 2-1 in front. As we now see the Germans really open themselves up with Nanavi. Pushing it to the side, making a good save out of the attempt towards the Great Britain goal. Of course, that goal is not the tallest in size, but is, of course, very, very wide. Did that cross the line? It has, and it is now 2-2. Dan Roper with the effort. Messy clearance and saved by Felix Roger. It's crossed over the line. It didn't hit the net. Of course, the officials are on the side of the goal. They are the ones that have the final say if the ball crossed over the goal line or not. It did. And Great Britain have replied, and it's 2-2. 3 goals scored already with 3 minutes played. And certainly now on our hands, we could be witnessing a real great epic contest between Great Britain and Germany. As the action does not stop there on court 1, the 8th and final game will be at 6:15 this evening. Brazil will take on Finland women. And of course right now on court 2, ending the day's action, is Turkey against Ukraine. In the men's division, of course, 15 games a day. Court 2 tomorrow will have 8. Court 1 that you're focusing on now will have 7. When it is 8 matches, 4 men, 4 women games. Or, of course, in the case of 7, it will be well, we went nearly an entire half without seeing any goals or any to talk about. And we've seen 3 in 3 second half minutes. It's just amazing what a goal can do in this game, isn't it? That's Dan Roper's awkward effort for the German defence has just gone past the goal of Olivier Heralf's right hand side. Two apiece, and yet we are still having a lot of the game left to play. Nanavi, who scored the first of the Great Britain 2, scored the first goal of this entire game, is denied by Ruven Shitelik. No side making a change yet. Maximum of 4 subs is allowed, but of course if there is a medical substitution, then of course it will not count. Of course no side made a change in that first half, so they have lost the ability to make 4 subs now. Roll on, roll off is the policy. And Goalball here at the CBS Arena in Coventry, and we'll go with a smart stop, and there was some of the crowd no doubt cheering on Team GB that had to be quiet with their reactions, but you can certainly see just down below that they thought it was in, some of them. And in particular, Felix Roger has been very adept and very good at making some real timely blocks on his goal line. As we are 8 minutes and 23 seconds left of the game. Great Britain 2, Germany 2. Roger, is he going to score? Oh, I think that's just been called out. Will not be a 5th goal for this game and a 3rd for Germany. In the end, Dan Roper, by the skin of his teeth, narrowly has kept it out. He just clawed it away with his right hand. As dramatic a save on the line as it can get us. We just see Great Britain now take the lead. Nanavi the man to get it. The dummy runner finally fooling the Germans, who had dealt with it so well in the first half. Now go to sleep and allow Great Britain to go 3-2 up just prior to that, going close with Dan Roper making a brilliant block on his own goal line as well. As the officials with the brushes come on to just clean the surface of the court, clean the sort of second rectangle as the crowd watch on. Of course, the crowd does have to be quiet, so they can't be able to put the encouragement in, of course, because of the situation where the players are blind, and obviously they have to hear the ball, they have to hear the noises. This is a little cheer for Dan Roper as he's denied Oliver Heralf. We're nearly 4.5 minutes old in this second half. Great Britain 3, Germany 2. We've seen 4 goals in that 4.5 minute period in this second half. Remember, 4 seconds left. Caleb Nanavi put Great Britain in front as Felix Roger is there to deny him with 2 hands this time rather than making it dramatic. Not quite sort of heart-stopping stuff for Roger or the German crowd, who could be watching on or could even be in attendance in Coventry, where the Goalball is. World Games held in the Midlands and Birmingham in particular, but all over the Midlands is where a lot of the different sports are taking place. Goalball, of course, one of 3 in the Paralympics. That blind football and judo as well, all on show at the World Games. Of course, it is less than a year or so till the Paris Paralympics. So any Goalball fans looking forward to the Paralympics can see some of the sides in action at the World Games. So, timeout called. And it is Great Britain 3, Germany 2. 6:15. We wrap things up on court 1 as Brazil women take on Finland women. Great Britain women earlier on today were 9-4 losers against Israel. So brought back down to earth after that win against Australia yesterday. Germany have already played in the men's tournament. They beat Finland 9-6. Right now, Turkey are taking on Ukraine in court 2. As well in the other men's games. Lithuania were 4-2 up against South Korea. But some brilliant tactical switches. Saw South Korea win 8-5. And Japan beat Egypt 9-2, who Great Britain men got past yesterday to win 7-5. As it's been helped in. The very next attempt, Matt Loftus puts it in, and it's 3-3. Ruven Shitelich with an awkward bouncing ball, which Matt Loftus did his very, very best to keep out, but couldn't have the same luck or same result that Dan Roper did to make a block. As it is now 3-3. There's 6 minutes to go. Very much now just locking horns. And Felix Roger, with a slick finish, has put Germany back in front. It's the second time that they've been able to take the lead. They were 2-1 up in this second half. Now they go 4-3 up. And Roger, who is having a great day out there, helped himself to a few against Finland, now doing the same against Great Britain. It's been a very different German performance, and Roger has played his part within it. As we've seen, 8 goals. So it's up to Brazil and Finland women to make sure that we don't go under 8, which is the lowest number we've had, given how entertaining the games have been. But we have now got an 8th, and it is now 4-4. Brilliant effort by Dan Roper. So much power put on that. But it will not stand because it did not bounce. Will it be 5-3? It will be with Roger. There will be an 8th goal now. It will be a German one. We'll have the feeling of ecstasy to despair has happened for Great Britain. Roper's attempt, remember, did not bounce in the middle area before going in the landing zone, so it meant that it would not stand. It would result in a German penalty, which they would score with Felix Roger, making it now 5-3. Need 2 at least to get it back to a level playing field. When we saw a first half that was devoid of any goals, barring the one for Caleb Nanivi, and we have seen 7 in not even 8 minutes of this second half. So we've had a goal at the moment, near enough every minute. As it is 5-3 in Germany's favour. As we see Josh Murphy for Great Britain come on. Didn't play any part yesterday in the win against Egypt. As Balint Benko is just seeing his patches and sees him put the mask on, and we'll be okay to come on. There's Caleb Nanavi. Says goodbye to the game. And as it stands, Great Britain are saying goodbye to a positive result. Very much Germany being party poopers on home soil as it stands. Time to change it though. There's Great Britain, and Murphy look to try and get a 9th goal of the game and a 4th one for themselves to pull it within 1. Heralf now having a go. Going wide with it. And still, no substitution in any of the games by Germany. They didn't make a single change in their win earlier against Finland. And now it appears that they're refraining from doing the same here in the very next game against Great Britain. Walker will take it straight at the Great Britain number 2, Matt Loftus, who was well set for that. Away from Schatelik, the German centre, and they're there to sort of stab it away his hair off with his feet. Good defensive work by Germany, who have really come out in this second half as a force. Particularly Felix Roger, who was strong in the first game against Finland, and if GB thought he was going to be quiet in the second half, they probably needed to think again, and it's on the frame of the goal. Oh, how unfortunate for Josh Murphy. It's 6-3 Germany. Well, Roger with the throw. Came off of Loftus, who missed it, and then Murphy, to be fair, has no idea where that ball has gone. He turns into it, and it's now 6-3 to Germany, and this game is evaporating away from Great Britain. And they're really going to have to put the great into Britain, aren't they, if they are to salvage this result. But they did it yesterday, coming back against Egypt. Have they got it within themselves to do it for the second game in a row and for the second day in a row? As the other game taking place in the men's draw is on court 2, Turkey against Ukraine. GB men will be in action against Japan on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Germany, of course, tomorrow will be in action against Egypt on court number 2. As there was a long ball spotted by the officials, so Germany have a chance to go 7-3 up. There was probably people watching this at home, if you are an avid watcher of Goalball, probably thinking, surely this is not going to just be the one goal in it, and it's not proved to be the case, because it's now 7-3 to Germany. Oliver Heralf adding the 7th, and maybe the finishing touch to this game. It's been a fine second half display by Germany, who are in a very good place. You could almost say they are Deutschland dreaming a little bit, you could arguably say. As there does look to be a change to come for Team GB, as Caleb Nanovi comes back on, and his replacement is Josh Murphy, who unfortunately, of course, would be part of the 6th German goal. Still, we wait for the German substitution, who are going to have a fine day, the men anyway. 2 wins out of 2 as it stands. Winners earlier against Finland. Women were well beat in the very last game on this court, losing 10-3 to Canada. As Faye Dale uses this 45 seconds to impart some wisdom. Real important time for her to get her message across. Words of inspiration. Try and get the team to close the deficit on the Germans with 2 minutes 41 seconds remaining. Nanovi going for it, and Roger just letting it slip a little bit. Could probably feel a little bit easy. He did grip onto it with his right side. Well, not going to be a good day for the GB spectators in terms of the defeats. Israel would give out a defeat on Great Britain women. And of course the GB men at the moment losing themselves. What is the penultimate game of the day here in Coventry? We got underway at 9:30 this morning. We're going to have the final game at 6:15. Shatelek goes for it, but Caleb Nanavi just sort of nonchalantly just sees the ball come into him. So with over 2 minutes to go, Germany now will make a substitution. Oliver Heralf is off. And Fabian Diem going to be introduced. Has of course, a white headband on the forehead himself, which is nicely at the back of those goggles, just going to be placed above it. As Diem comes on. Stefan Weil, the coach, deciding that now is the time to make an alteration. Walker turning and spinning. Second half, there's been a little bit less of those dummy runs by Great Britain, because they did quite a lot of it. They were confident to do it when it was a positive result in their favour on the scoreline, but not so much now, as they have given away a penalty. It was another long ball that they've been penalised for, so Matt Loftus will be the only one to stay on the pitch. He is facing it head on. It's against Felix Roger, who will not score. Brilliant stop by Loftus. Sensed it. Knew where Roger was going and put it out into touch. Good crucial stop by Matt Loftus. Well done to him for that. Highest praise should be given out to him. He won't be feeling lofty in this game at all, because they do trail as they've gone for the dummy run on the penalty, and they've now scored themselves, so it's 7-4. Roger the man defending, Dan Roper the man to finish. Roger was absolutely nowhere near it. A lot of venom behind that from Dan Roper, a lot of aggression you could sense in that throw. Has got that in his locker, does possess it, and it is 7-4. Still the advantage is with Germany. We saw sort of 3 quick goals in a very short amount of time. We've got less than 2 minutes. Can we see 3 for Great Britain? It would be some effort if they could do this. As Roper goes for it again, but caught well by Fabian Diem. Roger going for it. Straight at Loftus. So it's going to be a win and a loss for the GB men's as it stands. Germany, what a day they've had. 2 wins from 2 today. Scoring 16 and conceding 10. So they got a positive goal difference of 6 from just these 2 games alone. Goal difference may play a massive part as to how this tournament goes on for these countries. Remember, GB men not in action till Wednesday. Germany men in action tomorrow. Diem will have the attempt for Germany. Doesn't move forward too much. Expecting maybe a slip was Dan Roper, but did not see it go past him and into the net, which of course is not the tallest, only 1 metre 3 high, but is very, very wide indeed. So you have got that whole goal line on that last line on the court to get the ball in from, but of course the technique has got to be right. So some of the shots they do try, if you could pull them off, well, really do deserve a lot of acclaim and a lot of applause. Going forward is Shitelich. We'll just hold on here and have a little stoppage in play for the surface to get a bit of a wipe. Alex Bunny, the England assistant, is deep in conversation with the current crop of England GB players on the pitch in Matt Loftus, Caleb Nanavi and Dan Roper. Fail Dale there as well. Can they, with 19 seconds, get a goal here at least? Probably gone now, the window for them to get back in there. Dan Roper will come into the middle. We'll have a go. Trying to save with his feet with Shitelich. Missed it, but fear not, because Dean was there. Dean with the throw. Saved by Nonavi, and he's going to have to go again. It goes wide. So, with this being less than 10 seconds, Germany can just elongate this and slow this down as long as they want, which they will do. They might as well start the celebrations now before the clock and the buzzer sounds, and that is what happens when you've got less than 10 seconds. You see it out, and it's Germany who hold on. They deal a blow to Great Britain, who have lost here by 7-4. It started so well for GB, scoring within the last 4 seconds of the first half, but a second half blitz saw Germany win 7-4. It was a performance really that Germany showed their quality in the second half. They've had 2 wins today, scoring 16, conceding 10. Pretty good day for the German men. As the men's actions rounded off as well, Korea beat Lithuania 8-5, coming back from 4-2 down. Egypt lost 9-2 to Japan, and there's one final women's game to come. GB women lost 9-4 to Israel. There was an 8-0 win for the US against Ukraine, and Canada were 10-3 winners over Germany women, as the final game is to come at 6:15 this evening, Brazil against Finland. But here, the GB men's side have lost to Germany. 2 wins from 2 today for them. It's full time. It is finished. Germany as the winners, and it is finished here at the CBS Arena. Germany 7, Great Britain 4.